Welcome everyone to scuba class. We're going to get started. I know we have a very large group tonight. We're super excited. My name is Gabrielle, and that is my real name, Gabrielle Gabrielli. You are entering a new world beneath the sea with Scuba Educators International and Life Worth Leading. We have a great teaching team. Many of us are here tonight, not everyone. You'll get to meet some later. We are extremely active and passionate about scuba diving. In fact, most of us were diving yesterday in Panama City, and the day before in Walton County. We did 5 dives in 2 days, and it was fantastic working with students. So many of us have disabilities, and we are unpaid volunteers with the 501c3 nonprofit organization. So this is everyone who's doing all this work and teaching and dive mastering and everything else. We are volunteers. So we all have regular careers outside of this. And tonight we have me, Ronny, we have Ximena, who is a dive master, and we have Brett, who is a dive master in training. And so Brett is going to be teaching more tonight than he has in the past. And so if everyone will just, give him a shout out for first time, doing some of this new content, that would be great. So I did want to start out by just letting you know that we are going to dive into scuba. We're going to talk a little bit about the program. Everyone should already know things, but we're going to introduce ourselves, and then we're going to go ahead and do student introductions. And by accelerated or relaxed pace section of the class, some of you I know want to get certified really soon. You have trips in July, so we're looking at June for pool sessions and checkout dives to try to get you certified. So when we do the introductions, if you'll just say I'm in a hurry or I'm not in a hurry, then we'll figure it out from there. Okay, so we're going to ask you what made you want to learn to scuba? What made you want to learn scuba? And are you in a hurry or not? Okay, so why don't we go ahead and start with the introductions of the leadership team. I mentioned my name is Gabrielle Gabrielli. By trade, I am a leadership coach, speaker, and trainer. And so I infuse a lot of leadership things into my teaching here, and I love what I do. I'm really passionate about it. I love our team, and I foster a lot of animals too. So if anyone's looking to adopt a kitten, I currently have a batch of kittens, and you'll learn more about me throughout this. So let's go ahead and go to Ronny. And Ronny, tell everyone a little bit about your history and how you ended up with Life Worth Leading and all that. Okay.
Hey, I'm Ronny. I met Gabrielle over 8.5 years ago after the Strozier library shooting at FSU. I was shot twice, paralyzed. I use a wheelchair, kind of see it. But yeah, she met me in the ICU. She gave me a scholarship for scuba. So I went through HSA, then I got regular open water certified, and then worked through Divemaster as an instructor, and now I'm an instructor. So look forward to teaching you guys.
Awesome. And Ronny is very accomplished. He mentioned he's paralyzed. He is the highest ranking person in leadership with Scuba Educators International with paralysis. And he was the first dive master, he was the first assistant instructor, and he's the first instructor. So he is paving the path for others who are differently abled. So, and Ronny, as you'll see, is an excellent instructor and a really great diver as well. So yeah. All right, let's go to Ximena.
Hi, my name is Ximena Smith. I am an underwater archaeologist and part of Gabrielle's leadership team. I have been diving for just about 4 years now. Most of it has been for either science diving or through leadership this program. And just really love it, enjoy it. It's a wonderful world. You guys are going to have a great time, and this is an excellent group of instructors, and so you will learn a lot. It'll seem like a lot really fast, but you'll do great, and we're all here to support you. Thanks for being here.
And Ximena not only is an accomplished underwater archaeologist and dive master, but she also helped teach a Spanish only version of the course recently. And so I'm very appreciative of that. We have all had like lots and lots of students lately, haven't we? So it's been like, 4 days a week, but we love it. Brett, let's go to you next.
Brett Lundy, dive master in training. I've been certified to dive since 1994, so I've been doing a lot of diving, and got my environmental science degree from University of West Florida over in Pensacola. Go Argos! And I work with also one of the instructors here, Victor Blanco. He and I work together here in Taylor County on the artificial reef research program. And it's really fun, and hopefully you guys might get a chance to go out with us and count fish and check on some of the artificial reefs we have out the coast here in Taylor County.
Yeah, Brett's doing a great job. He is on target to earn his dive master within the next 30 days or so. So you'll see a lot of Brett. And the reef stuff that he was talking about, we all do a lot of volunteer work, but when you get to volunteer to dive and they pay for your diving and it's just phenomenal diving, it's a pretty sweet deal, I think. Right? So Victor has a great thing going. You'll get to meet Victor probably next time, and he is extremely accomplished when it comes to fish identification, among other things. So he's really cool. So, and he's been the one leading the Spanish only version of the class. So, all right. We are still having people entering here. I haven't missed anyone on the leadership team, right? Tonight? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you if you have your camera off, if you could just turn it on just for the introductions, if possible. And I know one of you is phoning in, so that's not possible, but let's go ahead and I'm going to just kind of introduce people, and I'm going to say your name and then introduce yourself. Tell us what made you want to learn to scuba dive, and if you're in a hurry or not in a hurry, if you need to be certified by a certain date. And anything else you want to tell us, like if you're in school, what grade you're in, or if you're in college, what you're studying, just something brief. Okay, let's start with David.
Hi, I'm David Gabrielle. I'm actually Gabrielle's brother. So she has been hounding me for years about getting the scuba stuff done. So I'm finally getting through it. I am not in a major rush, but we are interested in getting it done. I'm a 33-year veteran of the Air Force, and also a 20-year veteran as firefighter, which I'm now retired from both.
Must be nice to retire at a young age. That's awesome. And David is one of our scholarship recipients. So awesome. All right. Let's go to Henry.
So I'm Henry, and I just kind of wanted to learn to scuba dive because I thought it was a fun activity and it would open up some opportunities. And it was also something to do with my dad. So, and I'd like to be scuba certified by July 16th, because then I really won't have time in the summer left after that. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And are you in school?
Yes, I just finished the 8th grade. So I'll be going into high school next year, starting in August. So.
That's great. We have a lot of young people in our classes, so that's excellent. All right, let's go to Natalie and Jaden.
Hello, I'm Natalie. I wanted to do this because my fiance loves doing it and he wants somebody to dive with him, and I thought it'd be something fun for me and my son to do as well, because he's super into it, or wants to be super into it. And that's basically it. Oh, in a hurry-ish.
You are in a hurry-ish? By
Yeah.
when? What's your date?
As soon as we can, but he's going back to California July 26th. So we'd like to get done a good bit before that.
Oh yeah, should not be a problem. And Jaden?
Yeah, hi. I'm Jaden, and I was interested in scuba because I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube. It was very interesting to me, and it would also bring a lot of opportunities around the world.
That's great. Have you had a chance to look at my YouTube channel?
No, not yet.
Yeah, look at mine and Ronnie's got one too. So for sure, it's fun. So Ronnie, if you get a
And
chance, post
Jacob.
it. And Jacob has one too now. Yeah. So sorry, I forgot about his. Yes. And Jaden, what do you do, or what grade are you in?
I just graduated high school.
Okay. Excellent. Let's move on to oh, another Natalie. Another Natalie. This always happens. Sometimes we end up with people with the same three names. We have three people with the same name in a class. Let's go to Natalie S.
Hi, so I'm Natalie. I'm a senior in college. I tried to sign up for scuba last year, but it got hectic with school. So this is me attempting to do it again. And I'm not in a hurry, but sometime soon.
Great. All right, let's go to Chris Chubb.
Hey, Chris Chubb. Yeah, I think scuba diving would be cool to do on my free time. My dad's actually in this class, but he made a big art sculpture that they're gonna sink down to the bottom of the ocean. It's like an underwater art museum.
Awesome.
And so that kind of pushed us into this class to get certified.
Very cool. Anything else you want to tell us about you?
I think that's it.
Okay. Are you in a hurry or not in a hurry?
I don't think I'm in a hurry. It'd be cool to see it. I mean, I think they put it down this summer. He can elaborate on that.
Yeah, I mean, even for the not in a hurry people, I mean, it's not going to be like August, or unless you want it to be. So, you know, we'll still get you certified in July unless you have some reason for not wanting to. Well, let me go ahead and get your dad to introduce himself then. Chris Chubb.
Yeah. Hey, so I'm the other Chris Chubb. I'm the original. And so, yeah, I got certified when I was like 12 or 13 years old, but that was quite a while ago. So I want to get recertified for safety.
Yeah, smart.
And I'm thrilled my son is joining. And I really look forward to he and I being able to dive down on the Underwater Art Museum, check out my sculpture and then all the others that are down there. I think after this summer's deployment, there'll be something like 41 or 42 sculptures.
Is this the one in Destin?
It is. It's off of Grayton Beach.
Yeah, we've been to it. Scuba Friends has gone there. So yeah, that would be, we'll have to do a trip. That'd be fun.
I'm excited. It'll be fun to see. I'm really curious how the marine life ends up reacting and interacting with the sculpture.
Absolutely. It's awesome. I love artificial reefs, and, you know, Victor is head of an artificial reef program, and I've volunteered with artificial reef programs for pretty much my whole diving career. So I love what you're doing. And so you're a sculptor?
That's the first sculpture I've ever done.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm a somewhat retired architect and artist.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just so you know, Chris, that we have a lot of people who were previously certified retake the course. It's quite common. In fact, I'd say about 20% of our students are taking the course again, and that's so smart to do that. We just had a husband and wife who finished up yesterday, and even though they had a decent dive experience, it had been a little while, and they wanted to just take it again, and they loved it, and they were so appreciative. Especially, I think, when you're diving with, you know, family members, it's even smarter to just be a really good diver. So excellent.
Absolutely.
Let's go to, and we've got another David too. Yay, David Carter. David Carter.
Sorry. Hi, my name's David. I want to get certified for spearfishing, or so I can spearfish. I'd like to get certified as soon as I can, by July 31st at the latest, because that's when snapper season ends. Um, that's about it.
All right, that shouldn't be a problem. Haley.
Hi, Haley Scott, and I got interested in scuba diving. I went to medical school on Grand Cayman Island, and some of my classmates were learning to dive, but I was a starving student, so I didn't do it. Did a lot of snorkeling. So it's been sort of on my bucket list, but life got busy. I've got 3 kids, but my best friend, Dorothy, who's in this class, taking it, so I spontaneously signed up with her.
Awesome. And what kind of medical doctor are you?
Primary care.
Okay. We actually have, I think, 3 doctors in this class. So interesting. All right. Speaking of doctors, I think let's go to Mark.
Hey there. I'm Mark Inglese. This is my son Logan. I mainly wanted to get certified, kind of recertified again because of him. I got certified when he was 1 year old here in town, and now he's 13, and it'd be kind of a neat thing to do together. So he's getting certified for the first time, and I'm getting recertified because I, dive maybe once a year. So kind of like the other people, it's kind of nice to get a re-up and get the experience and knowledge again.
Yeah, it's really cool to do it with your son too. Mark, tell us a little bit about you.
I'm a country dermatologist.
Yeah.
I work here in Tallahassee and Madison, Florida, and in Bainbridge, Georgia. I'm also a certified tree farmer, as you can see by my background.
Nice.
And Logan just finished the 7th grade, so he'll be going into 8th grade. And we're hoping to get certified by mid-July because we're out of town the next 6 weeks after that.
All right, sounds good. Mid-July, no, should not be a problem. Let's go to Connor.
Hello, my name is Connor Brigette, and I'm a junior at Florida State. I got interested because one of my friends actually started working at Coral Reef Scuba, and I thought that sounded fun, so I signed up.
Nice.
And I'm in no rush.
And what are you studying, Connor?
Criminology. I want to go into law enforcement.
All right. Alexa.
Hey everyone, my name's Alexa Mitsuda. I'm interested in getting certified in scuba diving because a lot of my friends are certified, so I'd like to go and hang out with them. My husband is a big offshore fisherman, so I also potentially want to do some spearfishing, but he told me today that he doesn't want to hook me, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I love being outdoors. So this has also kind of been on my bucket list for a while. I work full-time, I work remote at home. I do accounting for Berklee College of Music, which is in Boston. And I also have a rescue dog named Tubby.
Yay.
And not in a rush, so hoping to get it done by end of July would be ideal.
Okay. Jamie.
Me. My name's Jamie. I'd just like to get certified by mid-July.
All right. And I think you're located, are you located out of town?
Yes, ma'am. We're out of Florida.
Okay. And David G is in Flowery Branch, Georgia. So we definitely have some people who were spread out here. So, and there are 3 of you, right, Jamie?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Awesome. And are you in a hurry or not in a hurry? I can't remember.
If we get mid-July or something like that.
Mid-July. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Dorothy. Haley's best friend, Dorothy. Dorothy? Are you there? If you're talking, we cannot hear you. All right, we will come back to Dorothy Mayberry. Oh, we lost her. Okay, Jacqueline's iPhone.
Okay, I assume you mean me.
Yeah.
I'm Jack. Jack. I'm 30. I own 2 vintage stores. I wanted to learn to scuba because my boyfriend has been a big time diver for a long time. And I want to be able to do it with him. And no rush.
And what kind of stores did you say?
They're vintage stores. One is a mid-modern furniture store. The other one's vintage clothing.
Nice.
So, yeah.
All right, great. Well, let's go ahead and look at our calendars now. Did I miss anyone? All right, let's look at our calendars. So those of you in a hurry, especially, tell me how the following dates look for people. And listen, this is going to be the hardest part. I'm just going to tell you, is getting all these people's schedules together. My thought is that we will, here, Dorothy's back. My thought is that we will probably divide the group into 2 because it's not likely we're going to find everybody available in June. So Dorothy, are you back with us? Can you unmute yourself, Dorothy?
Sorry, I came
Okay.
back in on my phone. I'm having computer technical difficulties. Sorry about that.
That's okay. So tell us a little bit about you. We know that you're somebody's best friend here.
Yes, and I delivered both of our last kids. I'm an OBGYN. And my fiance is an avid diver from Belize, and we've had many trips there and plan more to come also with our children, and hope that they'll get certified again in the future, or get certified also in the future. But it's my turn next.
Great. Excellent. And so I don't know if you heard me say, we actually have at least 3 doctors that we know of in this class. So that's always interesting. We have 2 Davids. We have, what do we have? We have two people with the same name, Chris Chubb, but they're related. So it should be fun. And we have 2 Natalies as well. So let's look at our calendars right now. What I was saying is, let's look at June. Those of you who are in a hurry, I'm going to throw some dates out there. And, you know, those of you who are in a hurry, if you are in a hurry and you can't make the date, just remind me I'm in a hurry and I can't make that date. Okay. So the first date I'm going to throw out is Sunday, June 11th. Sunday, June 11th. Is that good for anyone? I need you to speak up because I'm looking at my calendar. And say your name. Just give me names and say I can.
Yeah, that's
Is that
good
for
for
pool
me.
day?
So, say your name.
Yeah,
So,
pool day.
I'm
Okay,
Henry.
yeah, and we'll
That's-
talk about pool day. So tell me, okay, give me names.
So that's good for me. I'm Henry. So
Henry.
that works for me.
You got Henry. Who else?
That's good for me. I'm David.
David. Who else?
That's good for us too. Jamie, Kayla, and Jameson.
That's
Okay.
good for Logan and Mark.
How long
Okay,
is
hang on a
it?
second. I got Jamie and Kaylin and who Mark,
Yeah, Logan and Mark.
Logan, and who else?
Natalie and Jaden.
Natalie and
Jaden.
Jaden. Okay. Anyone else?
How long is it?
All right. So
Hello?
it would be all day.
All day. Okay. Yeah, no, not good for me.
All right. Are you in a hurry or not in a hurry?
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay, good. All right. So just to confirm, I have Henry, David, Jamie, Kaylin, Mark, Logan, Natalie, Jaden. Did I miss anyone?
Jameson.
Jameson. Okay, thank you. Speak up, say that again.
This is Dorothy. I
Dorothy?
cannot that day.
Okay. Are you in a hurry?
No.
Okay, good. Perfect. All right. Is anyone in a hurry who can't make that day? Wow, that was great. Okay, good. That's really good. So what we'll do, does anyone have a private pool? Otherwise, I'm going to see if the Florida A&M University pool is available. Does anyone have a private pool? A big private pool? Nope. We'll rent the FAMU pool then. I'll message them tonight and make sure that that's available. What'll happen then is we are volunteering. If anyone's looking for volunteer hours, we are actually volunteering in Orlando on Saturday with the Family Cafe, which is the largest event for people with disabilities and their families. And many of us will be there on Saturday. So we're gonna be a little tired. We're gonna be there all day. We'll come back at night and then have your pool session. So, okay.
Do you know the approximate hours of when to when on that Sunday?
Yes, approximate hours are going to be 8:30 a.m. to, depending on how comfortable and how good you are in the pool, say 5:30 p.m. I always reserve it to 6:30. Sometimes people finish a little early, you know, but I reserve it to 6:30. So here's the thing. You have a choice of doing 2 pool sessions that are not as long, or one really long one. And lately we've had people who just want to have one really long one. If you'd rather do 2 pool sessions, then we'll need to find another weekend as well.
And that's on Eastern time?
Yes, that is Eastern time. Can you make that work?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Okay. So the good news is if we can get all of you going, then we can start doing checkout dives immediately. So, and get you certified pretty quickly. For everyone else, how is your schedule in July? We have a trip to the Georgia Aquarium, so we're not available the weekend of the 8th and 9th. How is your schedule the rest of the time there? Who do we have left that needs to get certified? Throw some dates out there for me for people who are not yet on the list.
The weekend of the 4th also doesn't work for me, but I'm not in a hurry.
Okay. What about Saturday the 15th?
This is Alexa, and that 15th works for me.
Okay, let me just start writing some names then and see if the rest of everyone here can make that.
That works for me as well.
Say your name because I'm not looking at the screen. Go ahead.
Natalie.
Natalie, which Natalie are you?
S.
S, thank you.
This is Connor, and it works for me.
Connor?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, who else?
Hey, this is Chris Chubb, Senior.
Yes.
And that works for me.
Great.
15.
Does that work for your son as well?
I'm not sure. He has a busier schedule than.
Yeah, that works for me.
Awesome. I really would like you to be in the same pool session together. Okay, good.
Could you repeat the date again?
Saturday, July 15th. Can you make that work?
I am looking.
Okay.
1 second.
While you're looking, I'll just tell you, we are volunteering with Rotary Youth Camp for kids with special needs on July 16th, 23rd, and 30th. So we'll be in Defuniak Springs those days. Anyone else who hasn't spoken up yet, who still needs a pool date? Okay, good.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, it's Dorothy.
Yes.
Again, I'm sorry, I cannot do that date either.
Okay, so you can't do the June or the July date?
That's correct. I will be out of town both of those days.
Okay. What about the 22nd instead of the 15th? All the people who said that they can make the 15th work, can they make the 22nd work?
And we're in the July at this time?
Yeah.
I can make the 22nd work. This is Alexa.
Okay. Natalie S., can you make that work?
This is Connor. I can make that work.
Okay, good. How about Chris Chubb?
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't work with me.
Doesn't work. Okay.
This is Haley. I can do either of those days.
Haley?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'll tell you what, we're gonna move you back to the 15th then. We're gonna move it back to the 15th. Dorothy, is there anyone else besides Dorothy who still needs a pool date?
I cannot do the July one. I'm not in a rush, but I think I could make June 11th work.
Okay,
Was
good.
that the other option?
Yeah, the
June
other
11th?
option was June 11th. So that's Jeff.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So anyone besides Dorothy who does not have a pool date, and David G?
Yeah, I was waiting for a minute to get in there. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
good on July 15th.
Okay, good. All right. So Dorothy, we will figure it out. Don't worry. We will find another day, and I'll probably end up with some more people as well in your session. Okay.
I can do the July 22nd. That's the first date I could possibly do that you mentioned.
Yeah, so several other people were not available on the 22nd. Are those of you, Alexa, Natalie, Connor, Chris, Haley, and David. If we moved it to the 29th, would it work?
That would not work for me because
Would not work. Yeah, so let's just stick with the 15th right now, and Dorothy we will find another time for we will, okay? All right. So I promise we will find another time. We'll add another date. Okay, so let's now look at lectures. These are dates that we need to find common for everyone. We do have some people on different time zones, so let's just call it Eastern time. Does Tuesday evening work for everyone? Tuesday evening around this time? Does it not work for
Yes, that works for me.
Okay, good. All right. How is your schedule for our next session to be on June 13th?
On Tuesdays.
That works for me.
Okay. Is anyone not available?
How long is it?
Most of them are 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I mean, that can work for me.
Okay. I'm sorry?
Is that on every Tuesday?
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Because
Not on every.
ours, it only works for us every other Tuesdays whenever
Every
we have
other
things.
Tuesday. Okay, no problem. Let's let me just make sure I don't have something going on the 20th. Okay, hang on a second. Let's see here. Oh, I have a meeting on let's see, my meeting finishes at 7. I'll squeeze it in. All right, so I will squeeze it in. We can do the 20th instead. Is that okay? Is that not okay for anyone? The 20th?
The 20th won't work for me.
All right, let's find a different day then. What's another day of the week that's okay for people? Will Wednesdays work?
Wednesdays work for me.
Okay, does Wednesday not work for anyone? Like the 21st?
We can do the 13th. That'll be fine.
Okay, so you can do the 13th. Can everyone do the 13th?
For me, it'd be better for me to do every other week.
Well, we're not going to stick to every week for all of them, but like if we did maybe the 13th and the 27th, and then we'll skip Independence Day week 2. Would that work?
I mean, I can make it work.
Okay.
It'd be better for me to do it like the 20th or the 21st or 22nd or 23rd or 19th.
Okay. So how does everyone else feel about that? Can we pick another day the week of the 19th?
That's fine.
All right. So let me throw some dates out there. I think I heard someone say the 20th will not work for them. Is that right?
Mm.
So let's look at the 22nd, the 23rd. What do you think?
We cannot do Thursdays.
Okay, the 23rd or the 21st? Wednesday or Friday?
Can't do Wednesday.
All right, the 23rd?
That's fine.
Does that not work for anyone?
The
This will be our second lecture.
I thought the second lecture was going to be on the 13th.
We we had a conversation and someone said that they really would not rather not have it be every week.
Oh, okay.
So now we're looking at our second lecture.
Okay. The only day you've said so far I cannot do is the 23rd.
All right. How about Monday the 19th?
You know, I can do June 16th too.
Okay. Does June 16th work for everyone?
Logan and I cannot do the 16th.
Okay. All right.
I cannot do the 16th either.
All right. Well, let's just go ahead and look back at, I don't know how you feel about weekends. I really don't like to do weekends because we dive a lot on weekends. So let's try to find another day. How about the Monday? Sorry, you can't do Mondays. How about the 27th? 27th, Tuesday, the 27th?
We can do any day but Thursdays.
Okay. Will the 27th work for everybody?
Yep.
Will it not work for anyone? All right. Our second lecture is on the 27th. Not hearing anyone objecting to that. Let's look at our
27th at 7:30.
Yes, 7:30 Eastern time, 6:30 Central time. And I'm seeing things in the chat box, but I can't read everything while I'm looking at calendars. So let's now look at our third lecture. We have 4 to do. The fourth one will be the exam review. Okay. So we are on we said June 27th for the second one. Will the following week, will July 5th work? For any, will July, can you make July 5th work? Anyone?
Yes.
No, we're gonna be out of town.
Okay.
Natalie, Jaden.
All right.
Hey, I could make any day work. I could make like June 13th. I know you mentioned.
Yeah. How many people cannot make the 13th? How many people cannot make the 13th? Because what I may do is have one on the 13th and then have you watch the recording of the 13th for those who can't make it. How many people are we talking about who are going to miss? Tell me how many people? All right, we're going to go with the 13th then. I'm not hearing anyone speak up. I heard someone say they can't make the 13th. So we're going to have the 13th, the 27th, and then we just need exam review. And this is where we're going to email you the test. You're going to just be ready. It'll be a shorter session if everyone comes prepared. So let's look at July 11th. Will that work? July 11th, Tuesday, July 11th?
Yes.
Is this also at 7:30? So
Yes.
Okay.
So again, there are 4 sessions. Okay, so we have July 11th. All right, good. We finally have our lectures. We have our pool sessions, except for Dorothy, and I promise we'll add another one for you. Let's go ahead and look at checkout dives, especially for those who
I'm
need.
sorry, I can't do July 11th.
Huh?
I can't do July 11th.
Oh, I didn't hear anyone speak up. Okay.
Sorry.
So July 11th is not going to work. Okay. July 12th?
That works.
That works.
Is it, can everyone make July 12th work?
Yes.
Can anyone not make July 12th work? All right, July 12th it is. Sorry about that. Now let's back up and look at checkout dive.
Could you please repeat the 4 dates? really
Yeah, so
quickly?
Ximena is
Just a
typing it in the chat box. And so we have our next lecture on June 13th, same time, 7:30 Eastern time, 6:30 Central time. Our third one is June 27th, same time. And then the exam review is July 12th. Thank you, Ximena, for keeping us on track. And I'll send a follow-up email. You guys are going to be like, wow, those emails are so detailed. That's too much information. But if I don't include the information, then you'll ask me, you'll be like, you never told me. So it'll have all the information that you could possibly want. Okay. Let's plan on some checkout dives now. For the June people, if we have a pool session on the 11th, how soon can you guys dive?
The 11th works for me.
All right, so I have room for a couple of people on a boat on the 17th. It's a charter boat. There would be an additional fee if you wanted to be on a boat. I kind of like the first set of dives being in a spring though. So
We're free 23rd, 24th, 25th, I think.
of June.
June.
Okay. I can do the 23rd and 24th. 23rd is a Friday. 24th. How about let's look at June 24th first. Those of you with the June 11th pool session, how are you for making diving on the 24th?
So
I can do that.
I'm only available June 16th and 17th for diving.
And 18th.
And the 18th.
16th, 17th, and 18th. Okay, I'll tell you what, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna make some changes here. So that is Henry.
Yes.
Okay, so Henry, I have a dive already set on the 17th on a charter boat. Are you good with doing going on a boat?
Yes, that works.
Okay, good. There's an extra charge. It's a charter boat, so it's going to be $100 for the boat. Okay.
That's fine.
All right, cool. So
I want to say, just because I know everyone's not looking at a calendar, that June 18th is Father's Day.
It is Father's Day.
So keep that in mind with your schedule.
Yeah. So, but Henry, you're going to be on the boat. I can take one more person if if anyone else wants to join Henry.
How far out do y'all go with the boat?
We normally go to shipwrecks. They're inshore, but like yesterday we went to the Red Sea, and we went to where did we go to our second? We went to oh my gosh, the USS Strength. I love shipwrecks. The last time we were there, we did the hovercraft and we did stage 2. So there's, yeah, it's only it's less than an hour, I would say, about an hour. And then we do 2 dives with an hour surface interval. So it's about a 4-hour trip total.
How far out though is it as far as mileage out in the water?
It's considered inshore, yeah.
So inshore, not far.
Is it somewhere we could follow with our boat? Our boat will hold 7.
I'd rather do a separate diving with you. Can you guys do another day?
We can do any weekend. Any of the next 3 weekends.
Okay, perfect. Let's take a look then. Can you do Father's Day?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's do Father's Day.
All right.
All right. So that'll be diving on a private boat. And we have you 3, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Plus me so far. So that's 4. And we can take how many more divers?
Well, my boat says 7. I mean, we can load as many as you want.
Well, 7 people or 7 people plus gear? Should we maybe 6 people plus gear?
7 people plus gear. I think.
You think it can take 6 or 7 total?
6. I'd say 6.
Okay. So here's the thing. We have to have someone on board who's not a diver at all times on a private boat. So do you have someone you can invite along?
I could check. I'm not sure offhand.
Yeah, if you could find a friend or someone, it's just, we have to have on a private boat, we have to have someone on board in case there's an emergency. Okay. All right. So you 3 plus me, and we can take 2 more people. So does anyone want to come on a private boat we would leave out of St. Joe, right?
Yeah, I can do the private boat.
David?
Yes, ma'am, David.
All right. And we can take 1 more person. Anyone else?
My friend Dylan, who is in this class, isn't in the call. Could I ask him if he wanted to do that?
Yeah, ask him if he can do that. Ask him if he can make that pool session too, okay?
I will.
All right. If he can, then he's in, okay?
All right.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and write his name down. So now let's go back to the 24th. Sorry, guys, this is a lot when we're coordinating this many people. So who would like to go diving on the 24th? I heard some people say that this was their only opportunity.
Logan and Mark.
Logan and Mark?
Natalie and Jaden.
Logan, Mark, Natalie, Jaden.
And us 3 can do it too.
Okay, great. Do you guys want to do a spring?
That's fine.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so maybe we do, let's just say Morrison Springs for now. We can change it up later, but it's free. It's a county park. That sound good?
Sounds great.
All right, good. Now the person, let's see, was it Henry? Did we get 2 dives for you in?
No,
we just have the 17th.
We only decided on the 17th.
Okay, so would you be available on the 18th to join on that private boat?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, let's add you there then. Okay. So are you, I just want to make sure you said you can take 3 or you can take 6 plus gear or 7 plus gear.
I'll check real quick.
Okay, thank you. All right, so while you're doing that, let's look at some other possibilities for dates. We've now got the 17th.
Gabrielle?
Yeah. Yes.
Hi, this is Henry's dad, Bert. If you need I'm a certified diver, but I could go on the trip with Henry and not dive.
Okay. So we would have somebody, do you know how to operate a boat if you need it?
Yeah, I've had a boat for decades, yeah.
Perfect. Is that all right with you? The boat owner?
He went outside to go check that boat.
Okay, great. So when he comes back in, just tell him we have a volunteer who's the dad, and that would actually be really great if that works out, that he has some boating skills and he's volunteered to man the boat while we're under.
Okay.
That would be really great. And I think it would be really great for Henry too, to have his dad there. So. Okay. So yes, someone wrote or vortex. Yes, we did. We just did vortex on Sunday. We could do that. We could do that. We'll talk about options later. So let's look at some other checkout dives. You only need 2 days of dives. So for those of you in the June 11th pool session, do you have 2 yet?
Yes. We have the 18th and the 24th.
Good. Anyone not have 2 dates yet?
Logan and Mark only have the 24th.
Okay, so Logan and Mark have the 24th, and that is a spring. And so ideally we'd like to get you in the ocean, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to maybe do the jetties? Or do you want to go on a charter boat? You want to go on a charter boat?
We are flexible, charter or Yetis.
Okay,
Yetis.
so charter boat is more predictable and quite frankly nice. We get to go to wrecks.
Yeah.
It costs more, but I think it's worth it.
Yeah, we're game.
Okay. And when do you guys want to go? You pick a date, even a weekday. Can you guys possibly do a weekday?
Let's see. Probably can do June 30th.
June.
The Friday. It's a weekday.
Yep, we can do that. All right, so scuba diving. Why don't we go with a different charter boat? It's one that I really love that we just dived on, and it's a little bit more expensive, but it's super cool. It's limited to 12 divers, and the one on the 17th, we're going to have a massive amount of divers. We're going to have like 24 divers. So the one on the 30th, we'll have 12 total, and it's 125, but it is worth the extra 25 sometimes just to have you'll see. I have people go on both of them, and they love both. So it's a whole different experience though. So let me make sure that charter is available. If not, we'll stick with Panama City Dive Center. And
Okay.
so tell me the names of everyone. We have Logan. Who else?
Mark.
Mark. Who else wants to go on June 30th, Friday, June 30th? Who wants to go on a charter boat in Panama City on Friday, June 30th?
Natalie and Jaden, I can see if I can get that day off of work.
Great. Yeah, that'd be great. All right. If anyone else wants to go, just let us know. All right.
He said it was 6 people plus gear.
6 people plus gear. Okay, so we can't take Dylan then. Okay.
I texted him. He said he was good for the 11th.
Shoot.
And then what were the other dates for the
So
charters?
yeah, so it's good that he's good for the 11th, but he won't be able to come on the boat on the 18th because it only holds 6 total people.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
What were the other dates for the charters?
So we have the 17th. Let's see here. We have a really good one would be the 30th, June 30th, Friday, June 30th.
Okay. I'll text him and see about that one.
All right.
I can do June 30th. Natalie S.
Okay, Natalie S. Great. Okay, good. All right, let's listen. I dive a lot. All of us dive a lot, so we'll add more dates. Let me just take care of the July people. Those of you with pool session on July 15th, can you dive on the 22nd?
Yes, I can. Connor.
Connor? Anyone else besides Connor?
That's July 22nd.
Alexa.
That is July 22nd. Okay, hang on just a second. Go ahead and tell me who besides Connor?
Alexa.
Alexa? Anyone else?
I can. Chris. Senior.
Chris Chubb?
Yes, Chris Chubb with no
And-
hair.
Chris Chubb Senior. And what about the other Chris? What about your son?
Yeah, I can dive.
Awesome. All right. Anyone else?
This is Haley Scott. I could, but I'd sort of prefer to wait for Dorothy.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you guys possibly available like July 1st for a pool session?
A lot of the dates you've discussed for the dives work for me, but I won't have had the full pool session, so I've been quiet.
Right. So I'm trying to figure out when we could squeeze in a pool session. Do either of you have a pool? Or access to a pool? If not, we can rent.
How deep does it have to be?
I mean, technically it only has to be 6 feet deep, but obviously the deeper the better.
I have a pool. It is 6 feet deep, but it's not a big pool. It's, I do have a pool though.
Okay. And when are you two available?
What were the dates you were asking about a separate?
I asked about
pool
July
section?
1st. I asked about July 1st. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I could do that. That's a Saturday.
Saturday, July 1st.
Yes, I could do that.
Okay.
How many dives do we have?
You need to have 2 days of dives, and on each day of diving, there's 2 dives. There's 4 total scuba dives and 1 skin dive. Dorothy, your best friend can make it then too?
I find it, see if I have childcare for the first. If I can't do that pool day, I can keep the regular pool day and we can sync up
Okay.
our dives.
All right. So, I will try to see if I can find other people to go to the first too. And what we may do is, I forgot what I was going to say because I just heard someone talk. Sorry, my brain. My brain is tired.
Does the pool day count as a dive?
No.
Okay. Could you sign me up for the 30th also?
Yes. That's David Carter.
Yes, ma'am. And Dylan said he could do the 30th.
Okay, great.
If we're uncertain if any of the mentioned days for dives works yet, will you be sending out like an email with
Yes, I
other
will.
options, or can I let you know?
Yes. Yes to both. I will be sending out a very detailed email and you can let me know. Okay. And I'll be adding more dives. So listen, guys, we live in a beautiful place and there's lots of great diving here. In fact, we can hop in a boat and paddle up the river on the Westchester River and dive in Big Blue. And in 3 hours, we can paddle, do our dives and paddle back. And so we really live in a beautiful place with lots of great diving. Obviously, the Gulf of Mexico is awesome as well. And so I like to add more opportunities to dive, including at Big Blue. So I will be doing that. And so if anyone just messages me and says, you know, are you possibly available on, and give me a date, I'll try to accommodate you and see if I can get a couple other people to join in. Okay.
Thank
All right.
you.
So let's find one more for July. Let's find another July, and please know that we'll be adding more. Can the July people possibly make the 29th?
Alexa can.
Okay, good.
So, this is Connor. So I am like, can't do anything after the 29th forever. So
Forever?
should I like move back my pool session?
Can you move your pool session earlier?
Yes, ma'am. Like I could do the June 11th and then get the June 30th and then something else.
Yeah, let's do that. Let me back you up here, take you off of the 15th and move you to June 11th. Ooh. And then you're going to do the 30th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Got it. All right, great. So for everyone else in July, can you do, Alexa can do the 21st. Can the Chubbs do the 29th? Can you guys do the 29th?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Henry, did we get you taken care of with the 2 days, right? We did? Is there anyone we missed? Just speak up now. And if, you know, for the July people, don't worry, we'll be adding more days. Okay.
For Chris Chubb Jr.
Yeah.
I have you for July 29th for diving. What I don't have you down for any other diving day.
22nd.
Okay, I had the senior for that day. You're
No, they're
available.
both on the 22nd. They're both on the 22nd. And so,
Gabrielle,
yes.
This is Henry's dad, Bert. I had one question back to the classroom. We're going to be overseas and shifted about 6 hours on time. I don't know if we're going to have Wi-Fi for the second class. Could we potentially get a video of that? If we
Of course, I'll record all of them.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. Enjoy Europe. All right, I think we've done enough scheduling right now. So just message me if you didn't get a chance to get in on a date. Don't worry, we add things all the time. And you know, I'm always happy to accommodate, but I want to get started because I feel like the time is just kind of getting away from us here. So let me go ahead and start sharing my screen again, and we'll go back to what we were doing. So we already talked about times, and everyone knows costs. What's included, the student packets, guys, let me just tell you, we obviously have a big class, and I have more student packets coming. I only have 2 left right now. I know someone was going to meet me at Fleet Feet tomorrow. I have 2 packets left. So who was going to meet me at Fleet Feet tomorrow to get the packets?
That's Henry. I'll be there for Henry.
Okay, so that's just 1 packet, right, Henry?
Yes.
Okay, so I have 1 other packet if anyone wants to meet me at Fleet Feet tomorrow.
What time?
I am there for a running event at, I think, 6 o'clock. So I'll be there just before 6 p.m.
Okay,
But
I
I'll
don't
be-
think I'll be able to make it there.
Okay, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. If anyone else needs a packet, just get up with me. I am at a lot of local parks and things all over town. And so just get up with me, and I'll have 1 more packet left until the other one is it's in the mail. So hopefully I'll get it by Friday. Okay. All right. Requirements for certification. Hey, those of you with a pool session on Sunday, it's really important that you're ready for the swim test. So if you have access to a pool before then, make sure that you know that you're ready for the pool swim test. Okay. I want everyone to go to tinyurl.com/scuba sizing and put your size in there so that I can pack the appropriate height and weight for everyone. Okay, that's super important. So tinyurl.com/scuba sizing. Seeing how great Ximena is, I'm sure she's typing it in the chat box right now. And I'll also follow up with an email and remind you. So schedule, we finally got our schedule done, which isn't bad for how many people are in this class. Why Scuba Educators International? Well, it's a longer course. We have a lot more hours of pool time and everything because we want to make sure that you're really safe, great divers. I can tell you that we produce excellent divers who continue to dive for the rest of their life. We focus on education first, then marketing. We focus on diving comfort in the real world, and we have a concern for how people learn. In fact, I have a PhD in education, if that's any indication of how tied to people's learning that I am. Ximena mentioned earlier, we're going to throw a lot of information at you tonight. We are, because we promised to get you out of here by 10. So we're everyone on the leadership team, we're going to, we're kind of zip through a little bit tonight. So, but it's a chance to expand your life and to see the other half of the world. Does anyone know what SCUBA means? What's it stand for? Henry, you're smiling. Do you know? Okay, go ahead. Who knows?
I forgot the first one, but I know that contained underwater breathing apparatus. I forgot the end.
Very good. Self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. Do you happen to know who we have to thank for this? Jacques Cousteau. So Jacques Cousteau really brought scuba to the recreational world. It is awesome. Scuba diving is amazing. A lot of us on the leadership team have disabilities, and the world beneath the sea is fabulous. It really helps with pain and everything too, but you're going to feel suspended. You're going to feel weightless. You're going to experience life on a coral reef with all the cool animals and sea life. It's just awesome. We live in such a beautiful place. By the way, I've been to 88 countries and I've scuba dived in most of them. And so I have a strong appreciation for beautiful diving, and we have excellent diving here. So the course outline, here's the outline. Rather than giving you, 8 sessions, we're giving you 4. So we're cramming in a lot, but it's going to be worth it. So we have pool training as well as the open water checkout dives. The diving community here is very strong. We have a group on Facebook called Scuba Friends. I'd strongly encourage you to join. We'll send you a link as well. Our certification cards are worldwide recognized, and you will get one at the completion of your training. And again, there's pool training. You're going to have 2 days of scuba diving, and you're going to have a skin dive on one of those days too. And you're going to be certified as an open water diver, which is going to certify you to 60 feet deep. So we are at open water diver right here. Some of you are refreshing, retaking, which is really smart. We're going to go, then if you did want to pursue leadership or get advanced diving, you could either do like Brett is doing and become a dive master. You could become an assistant instructor, instructor trainer. I am right there at the top, a course director. And so I trained Victor to be an instructor, and I trained Ronny to be an instructor, and I love it. We have a lot of specialties too. On the left side, I think advanced diver level 2 is a really smart thing to do. We do a combination course that's fun. It's nitrox and advanced combined, and you get 5 extra dives of experience. So in your course materials, which not everyone has yet, you're going to get the textbook. If you have it, start reading it. It's an easy read, lots of pictures. In fact, I took a lot of pictures for it. And then you're going to have 2 workbooks. One has homework. We consider everybody in this class adults. We're not going to check your homework. Feel free to do homework if you want to. Okay. There's also class notes. Some people like to follow along during lectures. Not necessary, but you can. You're going to get a log book. That is really important. And you're going to get dive tables. So you need to have your dive table and your log book at every dive. For those of you who have not yet finished your medical requirement paperwork, you must have it before the pool session that you're in, okay? You have to have your paperwork. Please write out yes or no. If you write out yes to anything, you need to have doctor sign off. If you write no to everything, you don't need to have doctor sign off, okay? So diving goes back to free diving. I know we have some free diving people in this group. We have people I know who are free diving enthusiasts, and we have people on the leadership team who are also, including Jacob is an avid free diver. But free diving goes back to 3000 BC. The air compressor was invented, and there were helmet divers in 1837. In 1943, Jacques Cousteau invented demand scuba, and that really was what ended up causing all the rest of us to get to enjoy scuba. So the first YMCA instructor course was in 1959. For anyone who doesn't know, Scuba Educators International used to be YMCA, and in 2008, there was a transition. That was during a downturned economy, and there was a decision made that, that they were going to get rid of scuba, and several instructor trainers decided to continue it. So people with an old YMCA card, if they've lost their card, they come to SEI. We have the same high standards. So tell me, are there any risks to scuba diving? Yes, of course there are, right? Yes, there's risks to walking out your door too, but we try to minimize risks. That you're mainly going to have pressure related risks, and these are going to be things like ears, so body air spaces, decompression sickness. You need to be trained, you need to be refreshed, and if you have anything like pregnancy, seizures, or lung issues, these are contraindicators. So the goal is to minimize risk and maximize enjoyment. The biggest risk is holding your breath. So on scuba, always exhale, never hold your breath. During this course, am providing you with insurance. It's through Divers Alert Network. They are a nonprofit organization that's excellent, based in Durham, North Carolina. And we will be signing you up for that very soon. So you'll be getting an email from Divers Alert Network. Okay, any questions so far? All right, I'm going to toss it to the next leader, who I believe is Ronny, right?
Yep.
Thank you.
One second. Okay. It's gonna stop just a little bit. Close enough. All right, so skin diving equipment. So first off, we have mask, snorkel, and fins. Coral reef is really helpful with this kind of stuff. Being in person, being able to like feel how it fits against your face and stuff like that is really important, especially for your mask, so you don't get leaks. Especially if you have like a big beard or anything like that, you definitely want to make sure you have a good mask seal. Snorkel, like the biggest thing we recommend against is do not get a dry snorkel, which is this one right here with the bulb on it. That will mess with your buoyancy. It'll make things difficult. And the basic snorkels are the best for rescue situations, things of that nature. So we really do recommend getting just the most basic style. And then fins and boots. We don't recommend the split fins or the like boots. We want the strap-on ones. So
the other
they
one
have,
it's called a full fin, so don't get a full fin.
yes, don't get a full fin.
Yeah.
So make sure you get the one with the strap on it, but also don't get the split fins because that's not good for the kind of kicks we do.
Yeah.
And then make sure you have boots too. It's important for staying warm and also not like smashing your feet on stuff. Choosing a mask, like I said, there's a lot of choices. Make sure you get one that fits your face. That's the most important thing. But you can also have things like side windows, split, things like that. There's even like purge valves on them, so it's easier to clear and stuff. But honestly, we teach you how to clear your mask, and it's really helpful for getting the water out of your face. So mask fit, like I was saying, that's the most important thing. You're gonna have to go into the shop and feel them out because everyone's got a different shaped face, so you're gonna see what works best. They also have corrective lenses. So if you wear contacts, you can wear those under a normal mask, or you can get corrective lenses, which obviously are a little more expensive, but then you don't have to worry about wearing contacts. Snorkels. So like I said, there's a couple different kinds. We recommend the most basic one. Don't get a dry one. The semi-dry ones are okay, but they're not really useful in rescue situations, unfortunately. Choosing fins. Don't get the full boot, like we mentioned. Get the strapped ones that aren't split fin. And then make sure you have the full, I think they call them winter boots. Don't get the summer boots, the little slip-on ones.
Yeah,
get
5mm work
full
best,
ankle.
definitely. Yeah.
Oh, fancy transition. Introduction to diving sciences, diver anatomy. I also don't remember how, sorry, I forgot how far I'm supposed to go until, but I'll just keep going. Introduction to diving sciences. Okay. Diver anatomy. So we have our air compartments, our major air compartments, I should say, in our body. So the ones that are affected most while scuba diving. Obviously ear. So clearing is going to be a big thing with scuba diving to protect all of these, important parts of your ear, and also your lungs and your alveoli. There we go. So respiration and circulation. Air is 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and 1% other. That's important. I'd recommend you remember that. Hemoglobin is 45% of blood, carries oxygen in and carbon dioxide out. Oop. And then hyperventilation, avoiding hyperventilation induced blackout when snorkeling. And that's what this next graph is showing. So as you do continuous like free dives, for example, you'll increase the amount of carbon dioxide buildup while on a dive, which is what these bars are. You'll off gas a little bit when you're on the surface, but then you can on gas again to the point that you can pass out if you're not careful, which actually Jacob, one of our dive masters, has had that happen. So you can ask him about it. Air to water contrasts, it's 800 times denser. You're going to have a lot more drag forces. So it's important to make sure you streamline your profile, have all your gear strapped close to your body. Light travels slower. That's why you get the refraction and the weird vision changes in water. Buoyancy, Archimedes' principle. This is going to be an important one. We'll go over it again later, but essentially it's however much water you displace is your buoyancy force or your buoyancy force. Pressure, this is also very important. I'm just going to let you know that we're going to have questions on these later. So pressure, this is 14.7 psi is equal to 33 feet of seawater, and then that's also equal to 1 atmosphere. So those are all units that we're going to want you to know later. So getting into some of that, we have Boyle's law. So this is basically showing a balloon, more or less. So a filled balloon that would be full, I mean, it works with a cup too. That would be full at the surface. As you take it down deeper and deeper, it becomes compressed relative to the atmospheric pressure, depending on how much pressure you're at, at that depth. So over here, you can see the pressure. So you've got 1 atmosphere absolute. That is the pressure of the atmosphere on top of you at the surface. So 1 atmosphere, also equal to 14.7 psi or 33 feet of seawater, which you can see right here. So we got 33 feet of seawater. Now you're at 2 atmospheres absolute. And the reason it's 2 absolute is because you have the 1 from the surface, and now you're 33 feet underwater, adding a 2nd atmosphere of pressure from the water. So you've gone from a full balloon or cup to half full, and then relatively, further down as you go to 3 atmospheres and 4 atmospheres, quarter, third and a quarter. So like I was saying, you have that absolute or the atmospheric pressure, and then your absolute pressure. And this has to do with squeezes, which you'll feel in your ears and sinus cavities if it's real bad. So other Boyle's law effects, you've got breathing volume. So you'll go through gas quicker as the deeper you go. Ear clearing, you'll feel the pressure in your ears very quickly. That's probably the first thing you'll notice. Oops, a little too quick. Mask squeeze, that's not usually too big of an issue, especially if you're good with clearing your mask. It's the first skill we pretty much teach you besides, because of skin diving, yeah. And then wetsuit compression. So this is one for deeper dives. So usually as open water students, you won't feel it too much, but especially once you get advanced certified, you're past like 60 feet, you'll definitely notice the compression on your wetsuit, and you'll have to add more air than you would expect to. And we'll go over why that happens later as well. And then finally, pressure injuries like the bends, gas embolism, barotraumas, things of that nature.
And the bends is a slang term that not many people use. It's decompression sickness that we'll talk about later. And Ronny, you're going to go to the end of module 1. I'll say module 1 summary is your
Perfect.
last.
Okay, thank you. Dalton's law effects. So understanding partial pressures, what's in a cylinder. So this is really important, especially in advanced and nitrox, or nitrox more so. So like I said earlier, the atmosphere is comprised of 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, 1% other. So as open water divers, we are just diving compressed air. So when people say we're diving oxygen, that's not true, because oxygen is toxic past 30 feet. So each acts independently, and that's the nature of Dalton's law. So this would be 0.78, 0.21, and 0.01 to equal 1 atmosphere. And then we have Henry's law. So absorption of gases in our body. We use a cold soda as an analogy. So the gas phase is CO2 in this case, though. And as you release pressure, as you open that bottle, the pressure of the gas or of the liquid is actually released, and it allows the gas to sublimate out of the solution. And this is the same thing that happens inside of your body if you were to release pressure too quickly off of your tissues. So this forms bubbles, and this is related to nitrogen in the body, released on ascent, causing decompression sickness, which is obviously very uncomfortable and what we want to avoid more as scuba divers. So air consumption, how long will my air last? Density of air increases with depth. So like I was saying, because of Boyle's law, the density of the air is going to compress your cylinder's gas as you're diving deeper, which means you're going to breathe through it more quickly. Each breath has more air per volume. So examples, if you have 1 hour of air at the surface, at 33 feet, you would have half an hour of air. And at 99 feet, 4 atmospheres absolute, you would have a quarter hour of air. So obviously, the deeper you dive, the more quickly you'll go through air, and you'll need to keep track of that as you are diving. Heat loss in water, adjusting for the temperature. So one of the important things here to know is that below 80 degrees, it's recommended that you wear a wetsuit. We often wear it above that even, because we get cold easy, me and Gabrielle. So obviously, dress to your comfort. I wear 6 to 7 layers and a heated rash guard when I go. So, stay warm. It'll make your dives a lot more enjoyable and less stressful. Vision underwater, things are going to appear closer and larger. And then that's often why you have those sailor tails and things of that nature, because the refraction of the water makes things appear closer and larger. Colors change too, as well as sound and hearing. So Brian can't hear his buddy talk. You actually can hear him a little bit, but it's only it's very limited. You'll see what we mean. Gabrielle will talk to you underwater. And but the big thing is Brian can't tell the directions of the sound his buddy makes. Sound travels 5 times faster in water than air. So your ears and your brain can't distinguish the difference of it can't triangulate a direction underwater because it happens too quickly. And that's the end of module 1. So we went over anatomy of effects in the water, respiration, circulation, buoyancy and drag, light and sound, pressure, and all caused by changes in density. Any questions? Not sure who's next.
That'd be me, Ronnie. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everybody see my screen? Okay, challenges going underwater, your body, your mind, and diving. So diving adjustments. Order of the dive. You got dive physics, thermal adjustments, buoyancy, breathing, heart and lungs, in-gassing, out-gassing, mobility adjustments. All right, diving physics. The physical differences of air to water, applying the laws of physics, how those affect your bodies, how we must adjust to changes, depth, pressure, volumes, gas consumption, and absorption. So measuring air pressure. So column of air at sea level is, like Ronnie said, 14.7 psi, and the air pressure actually, it will decrease the further you go up in the atmosphere, and on surface it's 14.7. 14.7 psi, very important one to remember. I'm going over Boyle's law. So it's pressure versus volume. So it's actually inverse. The volume is inversely. The more pressure I have, the volume goes down. And water density. 1 cubic foot of water. 1 cubic foot of air weighs, come on, water's 0.8 pounds. Fresh water weighs 62.4 pounds, and salt water weighs 64 pounds. And water is approximately 800 times denser than air. Measuring water pressure in psi, so 33 feet of seawater is equal to 14.7 psi at 33 feet. So you have your on surface 14.7 psi of air pressure. And then when you get to 33 feet, you have 14.7 psi of seawater. So you have a total of 29.4 psi total pressure, absolute pressure. atmospheres in absolute, 0, 1 atmosphere absolute. 33 feet salt water is 2 atmosphere absolute. Then we go to 66 feet, you have 3 atmosphere absolute, sorry. And at 99 feet, you're at 4 atmospheres absolute. Boyle's Law. So in Boyle's Law, you got a 1 pint balloon, and we take it down to 33 feet. And it, at 2 atmospheres, will decrease the size of the balloon to half a pint. 66 foot would go 30 pint, and at 99 foot will give us 1/4 of a pint. So lungs on scuba. So we're at the surface and we have 10 pints in our lungs. And at 2 atmospheres, at surface equivalent volume, we will have 20 pints. And as we go down, that will increase. We'll have 30 pints. And when we get down to 99 feet, we could have 40 pints in our lungs. So why does scuba diver need to exhale on ascent? Always breathe. Never hold your breath when breathing from scuba. And this is why we don't hold our breath, because your lungs will expand as you go up if you hold your breath, because you've got less pressure on your lungs the further you go up in the water column. Thermal adjustments. So hypothermia occurs 25 times greater in water than it does in air. And the areas greatest heat loss are the same as in air as your head, head and neck, your underarms, your hands, your feet. Any area that can lose heat on land will lose heat the same underwater. There's also overheating. You can heat exhaustion and heat stroke. You can overprotect sometimes. So you want to wear a wetsuit below 80 degrees and thermal suits when you're doing ice diving.
By the way, we do have an ice diving certification with SEI, but I will not teach it. I'm a wimp. We will send you to a great instructor in Indiana. Okay.
I won't say I will never ice dive, but it is not on a high priority list.
No.
So buoyancy at work. The Archimedes principle. Subjects submerged in water will be buoyed up by the weight of the water it displaces. In the following examples, you will float. Will you float, sink, or be neutral? So we've got an object, then we submerge it, and it catches the water displaced, and then we weigh it. So 1 cubic foot of salt water weighs 64 pounds. So a 64-pound object in water would remain neutral. The shape of the object as well. 1 cubic foot of salt water weighs 64 pounds. We have an object that weighs 58 pounds. Will it sink or float? Or remain neutral? That should float.
Hey guys, this is Brett. Brett is teaching here, and you know, you need to, it's interactive at this point. So if he asks you a question, please try to respond. Okay. Just shout it out. Okay.
Okay. We got 1 cubic foot of salt water, again, 64 pounds, and we have a 68-pound object in our water. Will it sink, float, or remain neutral?
It'll sink.
Sink.
Yeah, it should sink. Factors affecting buoyancy: size and weight of the diver, type and amount of equipment, amount of weight worn, thickness of the wetsuit, amount of air in the BC, amount of air in the cylinder, amount of air in the lungs, wetsuit compression at depth, items carried on the dive, and freshwater versus seawater. And adjustments are air in your lungs and air in your BC through the dive. Buoyancy relates to workload, air usage, diving comfort, and stress level. So this would be a negative. This diver is a negative, has negative buoyancy. This diver is positive buoyancy. And this diver, straight, level, nice. It's neutral, and it is less, does make it a lot easier to dive when you get yourself nice and neutral. All right, how pressure affects us. We've gone over this real quick, but this is your ear. You have an outer ear, and your ear canal, your eardrum, your middle ear, and your inner ear, and your cochlea. And then you have your sinuses inside your head. And you can see this is a good description of what happens when you go into water and you start getting into depth and pressure. You will see that the eardrum will actually start to curve in, and that's showing squeeze. And this one shows the reverse block. So you want to clear early and often. Signs of middle ear barotrauma symptoms: you have a feeling of clogged or stuffed ears, ear discomfort or pain. Pain increases with descent during diving, fluid buildup and bleeding, eardrum rupture leading to vertigo and hearing loss. Clear early and often. Ear protections for scuba. Gabrielle has the Docs Pro plugs, which are safe for scuba. They're vented, allow for equalization and protect your ears. Prices there. And Ear Shield, the mineral oil, provides also protection.
Yeah,
now here's
let me just say something about that real quick, Brett. So the reason I became a distributor for these items is that I believe really, really strongly in the product. Having taught now for over 10 years, actually over 12 years, I've been an instructor. And for the longest time, nobody had ear protection. And people were having a lot of ear problems, especially as new divers. And so I started using them myself whenever I would have sinus problems, and they really made a big difference. And then with my students, I kind of, in the beginning, just encouraged them to go to a local dive shop and buy them. And the ones who had them would not ever have any ear problems. And the ones who didn't, inevitably, some of them would have ear problems. So this I saw for quite a while. And then I just was such a firm believer in the products that I was like, we need to have these on hand all the time. So yes, I do have them. I'm a distributor for them, and they're great. So, but Brett's going to tell you, regardless of if you have ear protection or not, you really should know these different maneuvers.
Yes. So this is a common one, the Valsalva maneuver, where you put your fingers over your nose and you blow gently.
And everybody needs to practice this right now.
Practice it.
We want to see you. We want to see you do it. Ears are really important.
Yes, really important. Light squeeze and a light blow. You probably felt something in your ears when you did it. Equalize every 2 to 4 feet on descent. You should start equalizing as soon as you hit the water. Just start going down, and just when you dive, as much as we do, it's almost a habit. You just reach up and, this is the one I use. So this is my habit. I hit the water, I start clearing my ears. So what happens on ascent? Okay. So these are several other ear clearing techniques. So we have the Valsalva maneuver, the voluntary tubal opening. So you tense your throat and push your jaw forward. One. The Tony B maneuver, would you pinch your nose, swallow? The Frenzel maneuver, pinch your nose and make the sound of the letter K. And Lowry technique, pinch your nose, blow and swallow. And the Edmonds technique, pinch your nose, blow and push your jaw forward. Breathing adjustments. I believe this is my last slide. So lung overexpansion, skip breathing, and normal breathing pattern. You want to do the normal breathing pattern. Need for clean breathing gas. That should be in your cylinder. Cardinal diving, always breathe, never hold your breath. All right. I think that's where you wanted me to end.
Thank you,
that's
Brett.
it.
Could I ask a question?
Please ask questions.
Yes.
Oh, good. There was something that was abbreviated BC, and I must have missed that. Or I didn't, and I don't know what that is.
It's a very good question. So do you want to answer it, Brett?
Yes, that's part of your diving equipment. It's BC is short for buoyancy compensator, and it is the vest looking device that you wear that holds your cylinder, and it's what control your buoyancy while you're diving. And
in
at
other
the pool,
in other parts of the world, they call it BCD, which is buoyancy compensation device. So you'll hear BC and BCD used interchangeably. And so anytime, we're talking about an acronym, we should always say it. So definitely say it, not just say the acronym. So, because it is, once you really get into diving, you'll probably never say buoyancy compensator again. You'll say BC, but until then, it's like, what the heck is that? So thank you for asking that question.
yeah, and during the pool sessions, you'll learn all about the BC.
Definitely.
Okay, so thank you, Brett. That was very good. We're going to talk about pulmonary barotrauma. So these are kind of like the dive physics, things that happen to your body physiologically while you're diving. This is trauma to the lungs. So one is pneumothorax, which is collapsed lung. We're lucky we have a lot of doctors on here, so you guys are probably just given the terminology, even if that's not your specialty, you probably know what these things equate to. But all these things are really important. They reference like why we need to always be breathing while we're doing scuba, whether you're ascending, descending, or just looking at something cool. But then also the important things of like the gas laws, which is why you need to know them, because these are the things that can happen to you if you don't follow the rules and the laws of diving. So collapsed lung, mediastinal emphysema is when air gets into the space between your chest and your lungs. Subcutaneous emphysema, again, kind of in the name, it's when air gets into the tissue under your skin. And arterial gas embolism, which is when there is air trapped in your blood vessels. So heart and lungs, basically when you're doing scuba, the more comfortable and confident you get, your breathing is just gonna become a lot more relaxed. Like there's scuba style breathing, I like consider it to be like yoga breathing when you're in like your regular yoga, where it's sort of like these shallow breaths in and then these long breaths out, and they're, at a good consistent pace. But anytime that you're doing something new, like when you first do scuba, you're going to be where they're talking about workload. So you're going to be very task loaded feeling. I promise this feeling goes away. There's a lot more tasks you can be doing than what is done in open water diving. But you will feel that way because you're going to be trying to remember all these different things that we're telling you. And then what happens when you do that is your heart works harder, like it says here, 1.3 to 1.5 times harder. And then that's also going to be affected by the water pressure. Like I said, your task loading, and then different things can affect that as well, such as the temperature of the water. And then if you get stressed out, so it's like, I'll like maybe sometimes underwater do like this to you if you're getting stressed out. And what I'm referring to is like breathing, like, no, just breathe in and breathe out. And it's because you're going to feel task loaded for sure. The water pressure is already going to be affecting you. And so then you have to kind of take care of the things you can take care of, right? So it's like cold water. So when we are like, put on a wetsuit, put on a hood, put on gloves, like definitely do these things. Even if you're like, oh, I don't get that cold. Like you do get cold depending on what you're doing in the water, and you're not going to be moving a lot when you're learning things. So you got to keep all these things in mind. And then your elevated stress, which even if you're making mistakes when you're learning, like that's totally okay. Like they say in everything, right? It's okay to make mistakes. The mistakes are going to get more frustrating if you start getting really stressed out, because it's going to change your body physiology. You're going to start breathing more rapidly, which is then going to throw off your buoyancy, and then it's just a whole debacle. So just try to take control of the things you can take control of. If Gabrielle or I are doing, or any of the instructors, everyone does kind of probably something different, but just keep that stuff in mind. And a normal heart is stressed when you're doing anything kind of new and difficult, particularly under the water, because we don't breathe under the water. And so they have the last bullet, which is you must be physically fit to dive. And the thing with diving is, and I say this all the time about different things, but it's like a thing where it's super fun and great and, safe and all these things, but it's like a thing where you can do everything right and something bad can still happen. And so like, why do anything wrong? And so the more physically fit you are, and that is not just your body, that's your mind too, is just going to make you a better and safer diver. So equilibrium adjustments, basically the same. Physiologically, there's going to be changes that are happening. So like Brett mentioned, you want to ear clear early and often. And like he mentioned, I start doing it on the surface because I just have a lot of sinus and allergy stuff. I've been fortunate that I've never had like a lot of big ear issues. I know some people have like infections and things like that happen all the time. I don't have that, but just with the issues that I do have, like I will have trouble. So I start doing it early and often. I promise the earlier you start doing it, the easier it is. If you wait, and which is also something that happens with new divers, like it's probably the thing you don't think about until your ear starts kind of hurting a little bit. And so it's almost like, I'm almost like emptying my air out of my buoyancy compensation device, and my other hand is on my nose, because that's how I clear. Gabrielle clears different and everyone clears different, but however you do, like just process that, because if your ear starts hurting, it's going to cause those other things that we were talking about. It's just going to increase your stress and whatnot. But some of the things, those equilibrium adjustments will happen in the middle ear, in the semicircular canal. And so you'll hear like middle ear trauma, and that's when there's issues with the pressure in that area. It can also cause alternobaric vertigo, which I'm sure many of us have heard of vertigo, but it can cause dizziness and can result in an upset stomach, because it really just makes you thrown off balance internally, which makes you feel externally. So it's going to make you feel nauseous from that. And then, avoiding seasickness. And this is an interesting one, just because I grew up on boats in Miami Beach. And it's just very different being on a dive boat than being on a regular boat, where you're usually doing kind of, fun things, and you're, whatever it is that you're doing on a boat. But like on a dive boat, it's usually compact, and I don't know, it's much more gassy smelling to me, and whatever else is going on. And anyways, I tend to get sometimes really, really sick, and other times I don't, but I could do all of these things right and I'll still be sick. So sometimes it just happens when you're diving, it goes away. I'm like, I'm fine as soon as I get in the water. But you can definitely try all these tricks. Think about what you eat. Because of course, whatever you eat that morning, which you definitely should eat, right? Because you're going to be working, even though it doesn't feel like a lot of work. But think about what you eat and what you put into your body the day before, if you're going on a big dive boat charter, or the day of, because it is a possibility you're going to be puking it. And then what you smell. If you have a tendency to not do well with that type of stuff, don't sit towards the, like some people will sit towards the back where the platform is. They're like, I'm gonna get off first. Like, yeah, but you're gonna be by the gas. And so maybe just don't worry about getting off the boat first. Maybe just stay away from the gassy areas. Movements on the boat. So try to like think about an area you can sit or somewhere you can be for that to help. And then they, of course, say eyes on the horizon, but don't feel bad if you get seasick. I think almost every one of us, I think I haven't ever seen Ronny sick on a boat, but pretty much, and Brett, I haven't been on a boat with him yet, but pretty much all the rest of the instructors I've seen puking over the side of a boat. So don't feel bad about it. It happens to all of us. So some visual adjustments that you'll notice once you're under the water is that objects will appear to be 3/4 of the distance. So they'll appear to be closer than they are, and they'll also appear to be 4/3 of their size. So they appear to be closer and bigger, which can sometimes make you scared. Like, why is this fish, ginormous fish, right next to me? Chances are he's not as close as you think. He, she, whatever he wants to be. And 4/3 of the size. So Gabrielle always jokes on this part, like, oh, so when you get up, what are you going to tell your friends when you get out? And it's going to be like, I saw these big old fish and they were right next to me. But even if they weren't, you can still tell people because they won't know. They're not there. So light loss at depth. We'll talk about that a little bit on the next slide as well, but it's due to the turbidity, the depth, and the surface light. And so all those things will affect the way that you see, it affects the light under the water, right? And so that's going to depend on where you are and a whole series of other factors. There's also night diving, so that's cool too. Anyways, you just need different equipment. And then your colors change too, which is what I meant when I said earlier about the next slide. But I'm sure some of you guys have heard of this, colors changing. So as depth increases or as we go deeper, if you guys have heard of Roy G. Biv, it's, this is kind of more important. I have not found this to really mean anything under the water, except if you're going to be taking pictures and then you want to have like either a special like clip on for your lens or some type of light for your lens, depending on depths you're going to be going. Or when I'm doing like underwater archaeology and it just matters because we need to see our hands. And so we'll wear pink gloves. But so anyway, the colors though will absorb under the water. And so if you're going to be at depth and you want to see something, you might want to think about those things. So can anyone tell me what a red object will look like when taken to 50 feet? So it'll generally look just kind of like gray or dull. It won't look red. It'll just look like very dullish. If you've ever known anyone who scuba dives and they're showing you pictures, but they don't really have the right kind of camera or lens adapter on it, and they're showing you on, they're like, oh, it was so beautiful, and everything just kind of looks green and gray and I wouldn't even say dark, just these sort of very blah colors. I promise it was a lot more beautiful to them when they were there. But anyhow. And so this is a picture to the left is kind of like a picture without proper things around it, and then this is one with probably a special type of lens adapter and maybe some lights or maybe one of the two, depending on how strong and how advanced the camera is. So things to think about for the future. So in-gassing and out-gassing, so this refers to the nitrogen absorption of your body and the oxygen. And it's referring to the nitrogen that your body absorbs into the tissues when you're diving. So this is where, again, it kind of seems like one of those things where you're like, oh, the laws, like I don't really need to know that. And it is important to know it because then you understand like what's happening to or what can be happening to you. And so again, when you're down there, you can do everything right and have a great time, but things can also happen bad if you're not paying attention to time and stuff. And you never want to go and make yourself unsafe. And so this is one of the things that can happen to you. And then so it's absorbing into your tissues when you're diving, and then when you're ascending, it's sort of releasing out. And that's why we always talk about like the ascent rates, how fast you can be ascending, and also that you have to be breathing out when you're ascending, because that helps the way that the nitrogen is is basically releasing. And so we talk about ascent rates. So the next slide has that on there, so I won't tell you, but if any of you guys know the ascent rates, kudo points for you. And that's also why we do safety stops. So we probably get into this later, but I'm going to say it 100 times because it's best to know. It's 15 feet for 3 minutes. And so the rate that you ascend is important to keep in mind, and then doing a safety stop. And all this is just going to help the way that the nitrogen is outgassing. So as we're diving and we're going down, we're in-gassing, and as we're ascending, we're outgassing. And so we need to do all of those things very carefully. If we don't do that, as a result, we can have decompression sickness and decompression illness, which is just really bad. If it ever happens to you and it's really bad, like you could never dive again. It's also very expensive, and depending where you are, you might not make it, but you have to be helicopter flown to a hyperbaric chamber and all these things. And I don't say this to scare you. I say it to plan your dive your plan, and all the things that we're teaching you about gas laws. And we'll get more into signs and symptoms later, but there's ways to know about those things. And
Ximena, I'm sorry, can I just jump in for a moment? Yeah, because we're talking a lot of about a lot of scary things, and I just want to just kind of comfort people. I'm coming up for dive number 3000, and I've never actually seen anyone have decompression sickness. Okay, it's not that common. It's certainly not common with any of our divers because we're well trained and we teach people to be good divers. So we don't have these kinds of things happen. Thankfully, we just don't. So we teach about the bad things so that you are prepared if something happens, or maybe you're diving on a boat where there aren't well-trained divers and they do stupid things and they end up getting sick, and you recognize you can help them. So the chances of you getting it, if you follow all the rules, are very, very, very slim. So
yeah, absolutely. And that's why I say it's not to scare you. It's just so that you know about it. It's not just for you, it's for you to know about it for your buddy. And also, like Gabrielle said, the people around you, because I've had the unfortunate experience of diving with people who were, on the cocky side, and I just won't dive with them. I'm like, no, thanks. Because one, I don't want to be your dive buddy because I'm not going to be a part of that. But two, rescuing someone isn't fun either. We all should know how to do it. You should know how to rescue yourself and rescue your buddy and other people, but it's not a good time. And so that's why we say all this is and like Gabrielle said, she hasn't seen it, doesn't happen with the students. And it's because we kind of drill this into you. If the more you know about it, the more you can stop it from happening before it happens, right? And calling people out when they're doing bad things. So, and then so first aid for this is 100% oxygen and then recompression. So that would be like the hyperbaric chamber. So again, Henry's law, so soda. So in-gassing when you're going down, out-gassing when you're going up. There's very specific ways that you do these things. And this is why we do them the way that we do them, because for many years, many people had to go through lots of things to figure out where we are today. And so we should respect those old dive peeps. So reducing risk. So ascent rate. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was 2 clicks away. I don't know if any of you saw that, but I'm going to ask anyway because it was pretty fast. So did anyone see what's the ascent rate? It's pretty slow.
It said less than 30 feet.
The speed of the air bubbles?
It's X amount of feet per X amount of minutes.
You said 15 for 3 minutes?
Yeah, so that's a safety stop. So, but when, let's say you guys are going to be open water divers, you're going to be able to dive to 60 feet. And so let's say we're down, at 50 feet and we are coming up to ascend. So how fast do we ascend?
30 feet.
Every
minute.
That's right, 30 feet every minute. And so that doesn't sound maybe, but it's kind of like 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. And the reason we do this is because for the people who go on the dive charters, there's a downline. And so it's actually really easy then to follow the downline up. But most of the places we dive don't have a downline, but that's what you need to think about is this, you don't actually do this because your hand's up and you're spinning, but on the downline, you can do that. And so it's 30 feet for every minute at maximum. So, and then your safety stop, like you mentioned, was the 15 feet for 3 minutes. So we do the 30 feet per minute for the ascend rate. And then at a 15 feet, if you're on a dive charter, there's usually like a knot in the rope or some kind of mark on the rope, and everyone just kind of hangs out around there. It's, between like 10 and 20 feet, 15, and it's for 3 minutes. And again, this is so that your body can outgas the gases that it had in-gassed. Okay. So recognizing a problem, we want to recognize how to not get us in problems, but you might be sometimes diving with a group of people and recognize that somebody else is not feeling well. And the most common one is joint pain for decompression sickness. So the others is tingling, lateral paralyses, limited use of legs, vision problems, and dizziness that eventually results in unconsciousness or can result in unconsciousness. So first aid and treatment, they've seen ABC, so that's air, breathing, chest, right? And so
airway, breathing, circulation.
Oh, sorry, airway, breathing, circulation. I was thinking about pumping. Airway, circulation. I immediately started thinking about CPR.
Hey, we're tired. We've been diving a lot lately.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say that even though it's not required for open water divers to have CPR, highly recommend. Gabrielle teaches the class through Dan, and I take. Yeah, Divers Alert Network, I apologize. And it's so funny because I won't even need to be recertified, and I'll just go if I can, because it's like the more that you hear it, the more it gets drilled into your brain, and the more prepared you're going to be, more cognizant and aware of an emergency that is in the process of happening. And if you can nip those things in the bud, it's always better than once it's already bad. So airway, breathing, circulation. Lay person flat, call for help. So you always want to have part of your dive plan isn't just what are we going to dive, it's also like being aware of like who's going to call, do we have something to call with, right? Where is the closest emergency center? All these different things are part of a good dive plan. And this is why I say CPR is super important. It's call for help. Like you don't just say someone call 911, like you literally delegate someone like you, if you don't know their name, or Dan, you call 911 or whatever. And then if you are diving by yourself, you really ought to, and I mean not ever by yourself, with you and your dive buddy, but not with a Divemaster or a dive chart or anything like that in the future. You should have all of this equipment with you, because this again is the matter of life and death if that ever happens. So you give them 100% oxygen, and then of course if it goes, and then afterwards, depending on the severity of the decompression sickness, they might have to go into a hyperbaric chamber, and that is not fun because you have to be in there sometimes for very long periods of time, and I don't mean hours, I mean like days. In this thing by yourself with just oxygen going on you. So not a good time. And they try to make it like a cruise ship, little small room here, but I'm sure it gets very boring. And then like we said, Divers Alert Network, super amazing. You all with Gabrielle's open water class automatically have dive insurance while you're diving under her with the course. But once you're certified, you don't have it anymore. I highly recommend getting it. You can call them anyways, 24 hours, 7 days a week. It's international. If you have questions, anything about diving, even, however, like days after diving, if you feel something funky, you can give them a call, and they can walk you through some things and then also let you know, because I see people asking people on Facebook dive groups, and I'm like, why are you doing this? I don't know what that's about. Like, we'll sometimes ask those things on Scuba Friends, which is, you'll hear about that later, but you know, it's really more so to get this conversation going about actual responses, and then also call Dan. But definitely look into getting the insurance. It's not expensive. I think the membership a year is like 45, and then the insurance is like 44. And it covers your dive gear. It has dive insurance, like for like trip and type insurance too, like depending on which one you get. But anyway, they can help you with all your dive questions if you're ever not feeling well. So dehydration, super big in diving, which if you're in a spring, you're like, what do you mean? There's fresh water all around me. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. And, you know, it's like swimming, it sometimes feels again like I'm in water. So why you don't think about drinking water when you're in water. But swimming is a very intense thing, and diving is too. You don't feel it when it's happening. Well, sometimes you do, but most of the time you're like, la la la, this is so simple. But it is your body working, and it's your body working mentally and physically and physiologically. And so you need to drink water. I would say not just
the number one cause of diver headaches is dehydration. And we see it all the time, even in our pool sessions, even though I'm like, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. I think you were about to mention a supplement or something, right? Like, or
yeah, so there's different things that you can take, like Noon supplements, or they have powdered ones or pill ones, or you know,
I use scratch. Yeah,
I don't recommend Gatorade just because it's got a lot of sugar and sodium and or sugar in it, and you don't want that. But now there's a whole bunch of different kinds that have hydration supplements in them, and not just the day you're diving. People always think about, oh, I have to do all these things today, like when you're going hiking, like I need to drink a lot of water today, and it's not. You need to start the day before. Really, you should be hydrating all the time. But if you know you're going to go do several dives out on a boat, a charter, in the sun, out at sea, you really start hydrating the day before and think about what you're putting into your body, because it's really going to affect you the next day. But like Gabrielle said, it's a really bad headache. It can cause headaches, migraines. I had a friend who thought she was going to have to quit doing after going through school, years of schooling for underwater archaeology, because she kept getting migraines. She didn't know why. She called Dan and had talked to doctors and everything, but they're not diving doctors, so they don't know. So if you call them, they'll hook you up with a diving doctor, and that's what they told her, like, how much are you drinking? How much water are you drinking? And that's what it turned out to be. And this is a person who had been diving for years and for work. But anyway, think about it. Drink your water. No alcohol before. So, you know, also think about drinks with the diuretic effects. You know, I'm a coffee drinker. I'm not going to lie. I drink coffee every morning, even on the days that I dive, but think about how much you're consuming beforehand, and what the diuretic properties are. Avoid diuretic drinks.
I mean, let's be realistic. I drink my coffee too. And
yes.
And,
no one's going to tell you not to.
Totally fine. Just make sure you also drink water.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so mobility adjustments. You're underwater, you're in a wetsuit, you're under a lot of pressure, you're lifting heavy gear. Once you're in the water, I promise that gear feels like nothing, but this goes back to being physically fit. The dive gear weighs what, 80 plus pounds at least?
No.
No?
No.
I don't know. I guess because I'm always doing a whole bunch of crazy stuff in the water. Sorry. We take so much equipment down, but not you.
It's like 40 to 50. So.
Okay. Yeah. Mine's a little different most of the time, but it's pretty heavy. And so you want to be able to get that around. You have your dive buddies, so they'll be able to help you, and we can teach you different maneuvers to do to get your gear on and off and things like that. But just, you know, think about that in your physical fitness. So walking with fins, we don't really walk with our fins. We usually, if you're doing a dive off of the boat, you know, they have a whole series of things that they tell you how to do. Each dive boat is a little bit different, but generally we usually, especially if we're doing like shore or anything, we get into the water and we put our fins on in the water. So usually only if you're doing something where you're doing like a fall in or a giant strident or off, you're walking with your fins. So And then think about drag and current. So you're putting on a bunch of gear, and we'll tell you, and you'll see this more in the pool sessions, but streamlining your gear. This is so you don't have things like hanging around, because if you think about it, like anything that's hanging around the water is pulling on, even if there's no current, like while you're going, it's pulling you back. And so it's just causing more drag and more pull on your body. And then of course, water current is going to affect that as well. Like I said, streamlining gear. And so you'll learn more about that in the pool, but it basically means just making sure all your gear is clipped and put in a way that it's streamlined. And there's many reasons for that we'll get into later, but one of them is that it'll just help you to dive easier. So nitrogen narcosis, I've never seen anybody that's had this, but my dive instructors in dive school always talked about it. One of them, and they are technical divers, and they dive pretty darn deep, and so I don't know exactly what's going, but he always jokes about how he was seeing like Dumbo, like pink elephants everywhere. And so this usually happens, was it past 100?
It's normally 80 to 100 feet. I've actually felt it before.
Okay.
And the slang term for it is narked, but it's very rare that anyone, nobody as an open water diver should ever get this. And it's super simple to fix too. It is a common thing, but it's simple to fix. And just to remind you, Ximena, we have 20 minutes left before we need to finish. So, okay.
I'm like 10. I'm like 10.
No problem. Just making sure.
Yes.
Thanks for everyone's attention.
Yeah, so nitrogen narcosis is pink elephant sounds fun. You don't want to do that because bad things can actually happen. Like people will take their regulator out of their mouth or just start swimming deeper and things like that because you're like high. And so what you do is if you ever start feeling kind of funny or feeling not regular, you just ascend a little. That's the answer to a lot of problems. If you're having ear stuff that you can't fix, ascend a little. So always just ascend a little when you're feeling like something isn't right, and then start processing it once you start feeling regular and like, what's wrong with me? And if you have this, well, you guys won't because you're only going to 60 feet. But if you go to future stuff and you start feeling it, if you ascend a little and fix, like you can keep doing what you were doing before. It's not like you can't go back down. It's going to happen every time. It's usually your body adjusting, you know, to the nitrogen that's being absorbed by, right? You're ingassing. And prevention, avoiding deep dives, ascending when symptoms occur, and reducing nitrogen in your gas mixtures. And you guys won't really have this because unless you keep on going to advanced open water and nitrox classes. So hazard marine animals, I have like a hard time with this one because I don't believe they are hazardous only if you're touching them or getting near them, and just don't do that. They're there for us to look at. They're not there for us to play with. They're there for our viewing, not even our viewing pleasure. This is their home, not yours. Please leave them alone. But some things that can happen to you is sea urchin punctures. This is not just like if you're touching them, right? This is if you happen to be like at the jetties, for example, if there's a lot of current, like think about those things because it can just push you up against the rocks. And so this is where it's important to be streamlined and well weighted and have your buoyancy well, and to be wearing the appropriate gear because you remove the spines and you clean the wound. And I think the biggest part of that is more so that they carry like an algae on them that can give you staph infection and other types of infections. And so you want to soak the wound and then just monitor it. And if it starts getting bad, you know, you definitely want and see a physician if it's not just a simple wound or it's in the joints, but monitor it. And if it starts not looking right, then definitely you can call Dan, but if you have a PCP, just go check them out. Sponge dermatitis. So, you know, people will see those sponges and they think about sponges in their kitchen and then they just want to touch them. But not everybody. It's kind of like an allergic reaction. Like I don't have a reaction to them, probably because was playing with them when I was little before I knew all this stuff. But some people do. And so, you know, don't rub it, soak the wound in household vinegar. Use adhesive tape to remove the sponge tissue and the small spicules, and use hydrocortisone for inflammation. So general stuff, but of course you can always call Dan as well. And then allergic reactions to jellyfish. There's in a future lecture, we'll go a little bit more in depth into the various animals and the things that can happen with them. But there's different types of jellyfish. The worst ones aren't really around here, thank goodness. But just be cognizant of them. This is where it's good when you're doing your dive planning to check out online various things. You can check out NOAA. You can call dive shops and stuff in the local area of where you're going to dive. And you can also check out online forums on Facebook or whatever social media you're on. And some of the places have website, but I know some people are like, no, Facebook. But honestly, for stuff like this, like I use all mine for sharks, archaeology, diving, and other sciencey things. And this is a great thing to do on it, is to have like different dive shops and different dive areas and different dive clubs from different places, because they can tell you there's a whole bunch of jellyfish out there and you're like, you know what, let me go to a spring today. But remove tentacles with tweezers. Do not flush with fresh water. Do not urinate on a wound. That is an old wives' tale, and it's not one of the accurate old wives' tales. Shave areas with shaving cream and a razor. Soak in hot water. Use topical pain relievers or steroids. And box jellyfish. We don't have those guys here, thank goodness, but generally in places that's happening, they're prepared for those things, but you'd use the dilute vinegar. Do not rub, and be prepared to provide CPR and evacuate. Again, when you go to areas like that, I think somebody in our last group was going to Australia, which is really cool. I think they were around there. But also you can call Dan, try to take a picture of the type of jellyfish it was if it's serious, and that can help you.
And again, let me just say, with any acronyms, it's really important to say Divers Alert Network, because not everyone is used to all of our lingo. And I think you use PCP as well, primary care provider.
Primary care physician.
Yeah, I know the doctors in the group know that, but not everybody does. So let's try to avoid acronyms.
Yes. So preparing equipment, front side, I'm going to go through this really quickly because we're going to talk about this in the pool. But this is your first stage in your valve, your first stage regulator valve, showing you or where your first stage regulator goes. Sorry, it's the valve on your cylinder. It's showing you the O-ring. Air comes out to you, so that'll make more sense later. Mounting your buoyancy compensation device. So where the air comes out to you, if you think about that, that's where your regulator is coming around. So your buoyancy compensation device, the nape of your neck area of that is going to be towards that O-ring. Top of the backpack is mid valve, so it's generally lower than this, but that's a comfort thing that you'll figure out later. The more you dive, you'll figure out how you like it. And then you want to tighten it really securely, and this is because of the pressures in the waters too. It's going to cause some variation in that as well, so you want it to be really, really tight, because that is a common thing that happens. People don't do it tight, and either when they stand up from a boat or they forget to strap it at all, it starts slipping off and falling, or if they don't do it tight enough when they come out of the water, it's slipping out and falling as well. So your regulator is next. So this is your first stage. This is what attaches to the cylinder valve. And that little cap that's in the first picture that is now off of the second picture is your dust cap. This is super duper important. Anytime you are not attaching this to your cylinder, you are having that dust cap on. The only time you take that dust cap off is right before you attach it to your valve. And this is your second stage regulator. This is what you breathe out of. So basically the first stage is what minimizes the pressure from the cylinder. And then the second stage is what allows you then to do the breathing at your own pace, right? So it's not free flowing into your mouth. It should not be. If that's happening, there's a problem. And this is showing you bits and parts of it. That little valve on the small of the left side is where you can actually, it's usually about right, but you can always move that as well if you feel like it's too much or too little air. And so all of this is what we call the regulator. And so the black second stage is your breathing apparatus. The yellow one we call the octopus. That's the second one, and that's for emergency. So that's something if your buddy is out of air, someone else around you is out of air, you would share that with them. So we call that the buddy sharing one, or the octopus. The little tubey coming out towards the top left, that's silver, is your power inflation hose, and you connect that to your buoyancy compensation device, and that allows you to add air or let out and add air to your buoyancy compensation device while you're in the water, and you'll change that to keep your buoyancy accurate. And then the clock looking thing is your gauge, and most of them will have all of them will have your pounds per square inch of how much air you have in your cylinder, and then also a depth gauge, and that's of course very important for your dive planning. And then other ones will have different things like a compass or a dive computer attached as well. And so where do all these hoses go? So regulator, the second stage regulator, and your octopus is always going to go on your right hand side. So as you can see, she's turned around, she's holding the breathing devices on her right side, and then on her left side she has the power inflator hose and the gauges. And so even if you're starting to do this wrong, you'll notice, because some of these things need to be plugged in, and you'll be like, oh, this is not where this goes, but we will help you with that at the pool. So you stand behind the cylinder. Your second stage goes on your right-hand side. Your second stage is your breathing device. Your gauges and your buoyancy compensation or power inflator hoses on the left. And so where does the air come from? Comes from the cylinder. Where does it go? It goes into your first stage, and your first stage is what minimizes that intense flow coming out of your cylinder to an actual breathable flow. And then you put all these things together, you put the points together. So you'll see this at the pool again, but you have the part where the O-ring is, and sometimes people will put this on backwards, but you'll notice when you remove your dust cap that little, the valve that you're putting your dust cap on and off with sort of has, there's no hole in it. It's like a V, sort of like a cylindrical triangle. And so if you try to put that the other way, you'll notice there's no hole there. And so there's no way you can breathe from that. So it's hole to hole, right? So O to O. And we'll show you that more at the pool. But you go ahead and you attach it. You only attach it hand tight, not even hand tight, finger tight. If you do it too much, it messes it up. It's very expensive to fix, so be careful. Hooking up your hoses. So your power inflator hose, again, people put these on wrong the first couple of times, but then when you go to hook up your power inflator hose to your power inflator hose connector on your buoyancy compensation device, you'll realize it's on the other side. And so that's just a good rule of thumb of if you're like, where does this thing go? And that's where it goes. It goes through, to be streamlined, you're going to put it through a little Velcro strap where your inflator and deflator hose is as well. And you'll clip it onto there. And then you'll also, all of Gabrielle's buoyancy compensation devices that you'll be using will have hook clips on them. And so you'll clip down your gauge, and that's one, so it's streamlined. It's not hanging around, banging things around, but it's also so that you can easily locate it, so you can be monitoring your depth and also how much air you have left in your cylinder. Super important things. We don't clip our octopuses like this. We have necklaces that we put them on, and that's just so they're easily handy. So if there is an emergency, you don't have to go looking for it somewhere you can't see. You just grab it off your necklace and you share it. And this is my last one. So module 2 summary. We talked about diving physics, the importance of knowing your laws and what's happening to your body, thermal adjustments, your buoyancy and trim, your breathing, your heart and your lungs, in-gassing, out-gassing, what it is and what it does to your body, and the various mobility adjustments that happens while you're diving. So does anyone have any questions? Yeah.
Can you click to the next slide too?
Sure.
Because I did want to just go over this real quickly. Yeah, do you have any questions for Ximena? All right. You'll notice the swimming requirements, that the ones in yellow is what we want you to focus on, okay? The exit requirements. So we don't need to do 2 swim tests. We're going to do 1 swim test, if at all possible. And you need to do, typically we start with the 50-foot underwater swim. The standards say without push-off, but my instructor let me swim with a push-off. Therefore, you get to have a push-off. So practice your push-offs, okay? Then we do the 300-yard surface swim. You don't have to be a great swimmer for this, but you know, if you're not a great swimmer, you need to know the strokes that are not going to consume your energy. So these are the breaststroke, the elementary side stroke, sorry, the side stroke and the elementary backstroke. Those are the best strokes for people who are not avid swimmers. Do not try freestyle unless you're a really, really good diver. Okay, please. Otherwise you're sorry, swimmer. I have my cat is on one side of me, my dog is on the other side of me, and they are like begging for my attention. So they actually, I don't know if you saw, my laptop fell down before, but anyway. So yes, we're going to do the 300-yard surface swim, and then we'll do the 15-minute tread water. The only people who have a hard time with the 15-minute tread water are generally people with no body fat. If you have no body fat, the easiest thing to do is a survival float. So just take a nice deep breath in and lean your head back. And you just have to do that for 15 minutes. Please practice the swimming requirements. Okay. So go ahead and stop sharing for a minute and let's just talk briefly. I did want to let you know that during Ximena's lecture, I was working on logistics. And I did secure the swimming pool at Florida A&M University on Sunday. So we do have the pool on Sunday. We are going to be renting it. So everyone is going to chip in $30 to be in a beautiful, big, warm, lovely pool. And it will be worth it to have a nice pool. So that is this Sunday. I did think that we should maybe adjust the time just a little bit to 9 a.m. if that's okay with you. Just because many of us, including me and Ronnie, are going to be in Orlando the night before. So we're going to be pretty zapped. So if it's okay with you, let me go ahead and get confirmation from you guys. Does anyone have a problem with shifting it to starting at 9 a.m.? Nobody? All right, 9 a.m. it is. 9 a.m. it is on Sunday for those of you who said that you would be available. You must complete the sizing information before then. I can't guess your sizes. So we have Henry, David, Dylan, Jamie, Kaylin, Mark, Logan, Jameson, Natalie, Jaden, Jacqueline, and Connor in that session, right? For the 30th, for June 30th, I wanted to ask you a question. I texted the owner of the dive charter that I wanted to go with on Friday, and he's teaching a class starting at noon. And so I wanted to ask your thoughts about this. On that boat, we have Logan, Mark, Natalie, Jaden, Natalie S, David C, Dylan, and Connor. So here's the thing with Friday, June 30th, he is teaching a class at noon. So here are our options. We either go over really early, which means leaving here at like 6:30 a.m. And we may not get to dive the sites that I normally get to dive. Well, we would still get to dive some nice sites, but like less offshore. Or we switch to the other charter, which is a bigger boat. So tell me what your preferences are. If you really want to have an early morning, if you'd rather not have an early morning, let me know what you think on the 30th.
What time is not an early morning?
What is not an early morning?
Yeah.
Probably leaving here at 8:30 or 9.
Okay.
I'm good with either.
Okay.
I mean, either is fine.
I'm good with either. Do you think it'll be less crowded because it's a Friday? If we do the other boat?
It will be less crowded on the big boat because it's a Friday.
Yeah, we'd like to do the other charter. Natalie and
Okay,
Jay.
you got it. We'll do the other one. And then we can go kind of where we want to go to. So it's too bad because I really do like that one, but I'll add another date. I'll add another date with them. Okay. So, what else? So the pool was confirmed for Sunday. Don't forget the sizing. It's super important. You also need to have your paperwork filled out. Please have your paperwork filled out. Read the instructions that I put in the email, including answering yes, YES, or no, NO to everything. And you only need doctor's sign off if you answered yes to anything. Mark, you have a question?
For the pool, do we need to have our fins and snorkel mask and all that? Okay.
Yes, you need to have a mask. Thank you for asking that question. Super important question. Mask, fin, snorkel, boots. If you have a brand new mask, it's really important that you put toothpaste in it, not just once or twice, but like 8 times. If you have a brand new one, you put toothpaste in it, rub, rinse, repeat, like 8 times to get all the, and sometimes it takes 10 times to get all the film out of it. If you don't get the film out, the packing film, it will fog up a lot, and that's not fun. So, so yes, mask, fin, snorkel, boots. I do have some extra sets, certainly not a lot enough for all of you. So, but I have some extra sets. If budget is an issue, you really should at some point get your own mask, fin, snorkel, boots. I'll provide everything else, but I do need to know your sizing. Okay, so make sure that you get your sizing done. The sizing form done. It takes 2 seconds. Just write your name, height, weight, and anything that you might need. Any other questions for Sunday or anything else?
Are you available to meet Thursday to pick up the books and stuff and transfer the paper?
Yeah. So Natalie, it's just you, right?
Yes.
Yes. So I have two remaining packets. So one would go to, I think, who is meeting me at Fleet Feet? Okay. I thought it was Henry. Yes. Henry at Fleet Feet tomorrow. And then Natalie, yes, I'm available on Thursday. Normally I run at Optimus Park on Thursdays if you want to meet there, if that's good for you.
Okay.
Are you on my side of town? Where are you located?
The locality right near FSU.
You're right near FSU. So Optimus Park is pretty close to there.
Okay, I can do any time. So.
Okay. So just text me that day. And then I'll let everyone know when the new books come in. But I expect that they should be here by Friday. I know they're coming priority mail. So maybe they'll come Thursday. But we'll see, because I ordered 20 more copies. So, all right. What other questions?
Will you send out another email that has a list of what we need to bring for Sunday?
Yes. Yes, I will send a very detailed email. And listen, some of you are going to say, like, why are her emails so long? But trust me, if you read the emails, please read the emails. I spend a lot of time preparing them. If you read the emails, they'll be broken down by date, and it'll tell you what exactly you need, where you need to be, what time you need to be there. And so you only have to scroll to what you need at that moment. I'll put things in red and bold if you really need to pay attention. The reason I do this is I've been doing this long enough. And if I don't do this, then people won't show up at the right place, or they still do. They just don't read the emails. Please be a good class, read the emails. Text me if you have any questions, but read the email before you text me, because sometimes I'll get, like, the morning of a pool session, I'll get 13 text messages from people, or the night before and the morning of, like, hey, what time are we meeting again? And I was like, oh, okay, please. So, all right. Anyway.
Gabrielle,
yes.
I had a question. This is Henry's dad, Bert. I wanted to confirm that I am available to be the non-diver on that boat on the 18th, if that's okay with the boat owner.
Yeah, the boat owners were gonna, he was out checking to see how many people would hold, and he didn't hear that question. So listen, we have somebody who is available, and it happens to be the dad of one of the divers who is boat savvy, who can stay on the boat while we're diving. Will that work for you?
That's fine.
Say that again?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. That's great, because I'm sure he'll need to
So
drive.
Gabrielle, with that boat though, it's only 6 people with the equipment, and You have 7 right now. Include you. I don't know if you were counting yourself because it's Jamie, Kayla, Jameson, Henry's dad, and then you, but then also David C.
Okay, so he had said 6, he said 6 or 7, and I was thinking 6 divers.
Sticker. But it says 7 on the sticker.
7, so it's 7.
Okay.
Is
Just
that
wanted
gonna,
to
are
make
we
sure.
gonna be, are we gonna be okay? Do we need to do, maybe, where were you thinking of bringing us in Port St. Joe?
I mean, we could go to Panama City or Port St. Joe, wherever y'all familiar with.
There's actually a couple of good wrecks in Port St. Joe, so we could stay pretty local to Port St. Joe.
All right.
Do we need to send you weights and make sure we're not going to be overweighted with the gear?
Yeah. I
Okay.
guess.
All right, let's do that and make sure. Thank you, Ximena, for pointing that out. So yeah, let's do that. So, and I'll have everyone's weights in the thing, and I'll just send you the list along with what we would be bringing. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Sounds good. Any other questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Sure, Dorothy.
I was just wondering, when we get our gear, is it a good idea to also have a wetsuit, like just in general, or should we just rely on what you have for us for now? What's your
Yes.
take on that?
So it's not necessary for you to get one, but I do have a lot of people who go ahead and buy a wetsuit. It's completely up to you. I probably have about, I don't know, 60 or more wetsuits. You know, and it is nice eventually to have your own. And so it's completely up to you. At the very least, I would recommend getting a dive skin because you're going to want a dive skin no matter what. I wear a dive skin even in warm temperatures because it's UV protection. The dermatologist in the group will appreciate that. It's got UV 50 in it. And so even in warm water, I will still wear it. Thank you. And so, you know, a dive skin also really helps you get the thicker wetsuits on easily. Now, if you do buy your own, what I recommend is buy a 3 mil, not a 5 millimeter, because a 3 millimeter, you can layer other layers to make a 5 if you want, but a 5 is really overkill a lot for what we do in Florida. The water temperature in the ocean already is warming up beautifully. It's 80 degrees. We hit 84 at one point on yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? Was it yesterday? It was yesterday. It's been a long day. It was yesterday we were diving in Panama City in the Gulf of Mexico. And when we're at the springs, they're 68 to 72 degrees year round. So people like me and Ronny and Bill, especially, we freeze. We have very low tolerance for cold. And so we wear lots of layers, and we actually even have heated vests. So heated vests to try to stay a little bit warmer. So, but yeah, if you get your own, get a dive skin. And if you really, really want to get a wetsuit, you see yourself doing a lot of diving, get a 3 millimeter. If you don't get cold easily, you don't probably even need a 3 millimeter. You know, most of you will get cold enough easily, especially.
Can you explain what you mean about layering and how that works, like with the
yeah, so what I
wetsuit
wear, even in the springs, what I'll wear is I will wear a dive skin, and then I'll wear a thin layer on top of that. That thin layer I can use when it's kind of not, like, for example, if it's 80 degrees, I might wear the thin layer in a dive skin. So the thin layer might be 1 or 2 millimeter, maybe one, okay, 1 millimeter. And then I'll wear my 3 mil on top. I also wear neoprene dive socks, and that helps keep my feet warmer. And so that's really great. I do have some gloves, but any kind of gloves will do, even garden gloves. Gloves help protect your hands. I have some extra gloves, but my students lose them a lot. So I have like a lot of, I think, right hands and not left hands, or vice versa. So, you know, getting your own gloves is not a bad idea. I have some hoods. Also, I have plenty of hoods. So yeah. Does that help? Okay, so I basically have everything you need, but if you really want to get your own, you know, wetsuit, you're welcome to. Do get mass fin snorkel boots. As Ronny mentioned, get a really simple snorkel. Don't get anything sophisticated. Just as a simple snorkel is all you need. Don't worry about brand or anything else. It's about how things fit you. Go to Coral Reef for those of you in Tallahassee. We have a lot of people who are in other places. Go to your local dive shops, support your local dive shops, if at all possible. All right, any other questions?
If we already have our snorkels that have the balls in them, is that fine?
You can bring them. It's fine. It's fine. They're just going to be a little in the way with all the scuba stuff. So, but it's fine. All right. I'll bring some extras of things too, just in case. So please fill out the form, and I will get an email to you by tomorrow with all the details. Okay. All right. Thank you guys so much for paying attention and being here, and we'll see you again soon.
One more thing, is that website for the form on the email?
For the 2 forms that you need to fill out?
Yes, for the sizing and stuff.
It's in the email. Is that okay. What is the kind of animal do you have there, Haley?
Oh, this is a little tiny kitten we found covered in fleas. We couldn't find mama.
I'm fostering 4 who look exactly like that and who are around the same size. And
just like gotta be maybe 3 weeks old or so.
Yeah, looks like about 4 weeks. I swear it looks just like my foster kittens. Wow. Well, thank you for.
I swear we're fostering him, but I'm pretty sure he lives here now.
Thank you for saving the kitten. Ronnie has a really cool kitty named Cleo. We are all animal lovers on the dive team. I don't know about Brett. Are you an animal lover?
Yeah, I've got 3 cats, a rabbit, and a dog now.
There we go. Awesome. Okay. So we like seeing animals. You know, feel free to hold up your animal and make us smile. So, all right, guys, thank you so much. If you have any other questions, feel free to text me or email me. Okay. Good night.
Right.
Good night.